RWP is brought to you by Porch Beer Entertainment.
Whoa.
I know.
I mean, I'm a Diet Coke guy. It's kind of strange to hear that come out of your mouth. I don't think I've ever seen you drink a Diet Coke in my entire life.
I mean, I do like a Coke Zero.
Yeah, that's
I
very
like
different.
better than Diet Coke, but no, I drink it on occasion. Ashley and Brittany love Diet Coke.
Oh, yeah,
so we
that's because they're
almost
geniuses.
always have it in the house.
Yeah, Diet Coke is the best drink in the world. So, no. That's...
Sponsored by Diet Coke?
One day. We did get, I will say, some good numbers on the first episode, and on both on YouTube and on the podcast version. So if you are listening to this and you want to check out the video
You want some
version,
ASMR?
we could do we'll do a best sounds draft, and we'll just what's the best sound? Just glub 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 glub.
Someone just screaming at the top of their lungs.
We do the opposite, the worst sounds draft, and then we just
lose every viewer possible.
Yeah.
Okay, let me open the Kindle app.
Yeah, open it up. This is Bad Book
Starting
Club.
chapter 5, right?
Let me no, chapter 6. We did
it's already on chapter 6. How about that?
We did chapters 1 through 5 last episode. So if you are listening to this or watching this now, go back, listen and watch the previous episode to catch up, because it's very important with a book like this. You have to really know. I mean, this is, like up there with Lord of the Rings. It's up there with Harry Potter. It's some of the greatest literature of all time.
Greatest literary works of our generation.
It is, and it is Curves and Cradles, a Navy SEAL / One Night to Forever / Curvy Girl Romance by Kat Baxter. I was thinking about this before you hopped on. I was looking at these subtitles, and I was wondering why, because by having it say,
why is it needed?
Well, that is a big question. And two, does that mean there are more Curvy Girl romances, One Night to Forever romances, 100%. And a Navy SEAL romances?
Because you see, they actually have hashtags under it.
Yeah, I feel like this is a viral book.
It's a niche. It's a niche genre. But I bet you, if she hasn't written one, there are specific. Well, we say curvy, but it's curvy in all the right spots, Ben.
According to our boy. So let's
according
our boy Kevin.
According to the author, it's the most unattractive person that's ever existed.
Yes, because she and I'm interested to see now, kind of where this goes, because I know you have read ahead. I've read obviously 6 through 10, but I haven't read past that. So I'm very interested to see where we go here. A quick recap for those who may have forgotten. Of course, it's Curves and Cradles.
Wait, give your recap in 7 words.
Okay. He's in the Navy, so Navy guy, weird shaped girl, baby. Question mark. I don't know.
Navy SEAL gets curvy girl pregnant.
Yeah. Boom. Yeah, there you go. So that's what happened in 1 through 5. And so in chapter 5 we flash forwarded, I think it was 6 months in the future or something like that. Or let me see. So chapter 5 we fast forwarded a year later, because she had the baby and things like that. And then now, starting with chapter 6, we are 18 months later. So we are now officially 2 years past the night.
Oh, it's
evening.
2 years. Yeah, you're right. Okay, so so they had the hotel trash can full of condoms.
Which in reality, think about it, 2 years, that's a long time.
Super long time. Really long time.
For a one night, especially with a one night stand situation, for this to still be well, I guess he did impregnate her, so I guess that's why it's still a thing, is because even though he doesn't know yet.
But the whole 2 years thing, right? This is the first time that Kevin's going to be introduced within 2 years, right? Also, they don't cover any of those 2 years leading up to.
No. So
it's a gap in time.
By the way, I have a new fun thing to add here. I've got a cringe cowbell, which anytime we encounter a cringy line in the book, we can ring the cringe cowbell, and I'll keep track of how many cringe cowbells we play on the episode as well. So we'll see how this.
Go in with like 87 for chapter 7 or whatever.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot. So chapter 6, Kevin's perspective. 18 months later, he's at the bar the bar that we had him in chapter 1, and Cade, his buddy, lowers himself into the booth.
Yep.
You're right.
So
We don't know it's the same bar for sure.
Cade's the guy who he went to go help his
dead mom.
Kevin went to go help Cade put his mom in the ground.
Yes.
But also didn't help Cade with any of that. But came back for that purpose.
He just had sex with a girl he met at the bar.
Then went to the actual funeral and then checked out for 18 months. And
yes. And so
the
now
fact that
Cade
he kind of pops up now and is like looking for her, or like just back in the picture, like I don't think anyone goes on deployments for years at a time. There's certain cycles of like 6 to 9 months, and then you're back. Like they didn't just send him to a country and go, you're here for 2 years. Goodbye.
There's a lot of details missing here, and so Cade we're informed that Cade was injured a year prior by an IED and blew off the bottom of his left leg. So Cade has gone through the ringer. Mom dies, left leg gets blown off.
So his mom dies, and then this is 18 months later. So
and it said a year ago.
6 months after his mom died, his leg blew off.
Yeah. So Cade is honestly like the only character I care about in this book. It's like this guy's gone through a lot.
I feel more emotionally attached to Cade because his backstory is just way more fleshed out than any of these. So
Kevin and Cade are at the bar. Cade's asking him like, "Hey, did you find her?" And then Kevin said, he nods. I can't hide the smile that covers my face. Yeah, I tracked her down. She's at her school. I'm gonna head over there in a few. And Cade's like, I can't believe you of all people have fallen this hard. And then. So this is an interesting response because, and I don't know if it's fully cringe cowbell worthy, but he just goes, I haven't fallen anywhere. It's just sex. Fucking awesome sex. The best sex I've ever had. And aside from you, she's the only person I know here. This was 2 years ago.
In over the span of like 48 hours. Right? So
yes.
It's just.
It wasn't like it was like months or weeks or anything. It was a weekend, and he's been thinking about this for 2 years, and he's tracked her down, and
not even contacting her beforehand. Just this is the first time he's like, "Yeah, I did the recon. I'm here. I'm gonna go bang her again."
And his buddy Cade is kind of on the right track because Cade's like, you've clearly fallen for this girl since you're tracking her down 2 years after you guys had sex. And he's like, no. I just want to have some more awesome sex with her. It's like,
Cade's like, remember when I was lying in a pool of my own blood and you just kept talking about that weekend and I was screaming?
That's all he's been talking about for 2 years. So Cade is a little suspicious. He's like, yeah, sure, okay. And he's like, and Cade's like, and again, Cade is the only guy I like here. Cade's like, I think this chick is more than awesome sex to you. Kevin.
And I see a cringe-worthy cowbell coming right.
Yes. Oh, it's coming up for sure. And so Kevin starts thinking, he's like, maybe Cade's right. He's like all the times in between missions when I've had an opportunity to seek out female companionship. You know how you do, like in between every mission, like your only focus is to have sex with women. He says, I've settled for my hand and the memory of how sweet Jane's sweet blank tasted. I'm gonna go ahead and ring the cowbell for that one.
Yeah, so he basically what he's telling us in this one sentence is, in the 2 years that he's been, I guess, killing Osama, or been in the jungle, knee deep, undercover, whatever you want to call it. All he told you right there is, ever since that day, I've just jacked off.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's
all he said.
Oh God, that's definitely.
And he's just like. Just unabashedly, for 2 years, I just did the deed myself because nothing can compare.
So that's a cowbell.
Like, okay, all right, chill, dude. Jesus.
That's a cringe cowbell. I rang it, so that's one. He's starting to like get uncomfortable. He's like, hey man, it's just sex. I don't even know her that well. Yeah, exactly. So why are you following her 2 years later? And Cade points out, hey, there's a girl at the bar that seems to be into you. And so
Having eye sex with him. Yeah.
yeah, so Kevin looks over, he finds her, hot body, curves for days, much to the theme of the
Curves
book.
again for days. Yeah.
Long red hair. She wraps her pink lips around the straw in her fruity drink and sucks long and hard. Which in my mind, I don't know. I mean, I guess
Hold
you
on.
could.
I have a straw.
Yeah, please. Salty Dalton's going to get his straw here and demonstrate. Because I did not immediately find this arousing. So she looks at it. Yeah. What if you miss the straw? It just doesn't.
Yeah.
He
It's
says,
weird.
it's a bold proposition and not even a stirring in my pants. What the
Yeah,
hell
because
is
that's
wrong
how he
with
judges every interaction. We went over this, and you saw it in the earlier chapters. It's everything anyone ever does either triggers a response from his erection or it doesn't, right? So we know if it doesn't do anything that they're probably meaningless to the storyline.
I would hope a woman casually drinking through a straw at the bar would not give you an erection. That seems a little extreme.
It's insane to me to just walk in and just like you see somebody working at their desk and like he's like the way she typed on that keyboard, I just couldn't contain myself.
Yeah,
And
it's
like
any
what
daily
are you
meaningless
saying?
task.
Yeah.
So Cade, Kevin clocks her. He notices her. He says, "I'll make her wait a little longer, then I'll go talk to her." Cade's like, "All right, whatever.
It's like,
Suit yourself."
Literally, suit yourself. Okay, man. Like you don't got to be worried about this.
And then we get introduced to detail that I tried to look back through the chapters to see like why this is presented because it sounds like so Kevin mentions my fingers are still numb and the nerve damage doesn't seem to be repairing itself. So it sounded like maybe he was involved with some sort of explosion as well, but they never go into it because then he just says, "I sold another design to Brick." What does that mean? I don't know what that
I think
means.
the whole premise I think is like he's only back in this town because he's injured and is like not fit for duty.
But he doesn't
But
live here. Cade lives here.
Exactly. They don't go into any of that. And I think it's because he doesn't have a home or something like, perpetual orphan foster dude. But I mean, he's a grown man. Like, I guess he doesn't have a place to stay if it's not on base.
And what's
I don't
Brick?
understand that
Are we
either.
supposed to know what Brick is? Is that like a famous tattoo company or something?
Artist? It's
Let's
either a
see.
tattoo artist or company.
Oh, it could be a
but he
name.
says, like,
Yeah.
the
Brick
guy's like,
tattoo.
oh, another seal tattoo. And then he's like, no, this is something I've been doing for a while. He said it's going to be a big seller. And it's like, I mean, the whole thing about tattoos is like, you do have stock options for tattoos, right? Like stuff that's in the artist art book. But when we say big seller, like,
yeah.
Are there just going to be 100
These are going to be flying off the shelves.
Identical tattoo all over their body?
It's a drawing of the ideal woman. It's just, giant curves, heart-shaped butts. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's such, but you're right. It's so random in the fact that he's like, oh yeah, I got like horrifically injured, but never mind that. I sold a tattoo to somebody who you'll never hear about again. And by the way, I draw tattoos.
I Google Brick tattoo, and it just comes up with literal tattoos with bricks on them, like actual which is a subculture in itself that I want to know more about. But so he talks about his tattoo. Cade notices. He says she's done waiting, and then Kevin is like, who? And then the redhead from the bar sidles up to the table, and then she said, "I'll wait till Salty."
No, you're fine.
Okay.
I don't know what I did with my bowl of pasta, and
oh, I didn't realize you were going to eat a bowl of pasta.
I was earlier. The last time I had left it unattended, Tilly, I came back to my desk, and Tilly's head was in the bowl. Anyway.
So redhead sidles up to the table. Hey, she says, her voice throaty. Another strange voice description here.
So the only thing that conjures in my head when that line is written is, do you remember, like, you had to have done this in high school. Remember, what was the whole story of Deep Throat? Like the guy who exposed and how like they had the voice modulator on him in the interviews was just like, I'm Deep Throat, like hello. Like that's all I can think of, like a throaty Batman voice.
Throaty voice. Yeah. Like I understand, like if she did raspy, like obviously, like we've heard women and men, both of them have like raspy
little
voices
thing
before.
Where it's like, eh.
Yeah, but throaty sounds strange to me. And her name, of course,
is adjective
is Candy. We couldn't get more creative than that, I guess.
Prostitute. I mean, is this what we're supposed to pick up from this?
Cade says, "Of course it is," and he
I love
again
Cade. Love Cade. Yeah. Oh
he
my
backs
gosh.
out of the booth and leaves. He's ultimate wingman. He's like he's the one who pointed out the girl in the first place. He's the one who notices the redhead coming over, and then Cade says, "All right, I'll leave you guys alone. I'm gonna go
And a little
and
snide, like,
limp
of
away."
course your name's Candy. Like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's the main character in my opinion. I want to see Cade have a happy ending here.
So Candy,
Not
well,
in
whoa.
that sense. Yeah.
So Candy sits down in the booth. She asks, "So what do you do?" And he tells her, Kevin tells her, "I'm in the Navy." And she goes, "I'm a vet." And Kevin goes, "Really? What branch?" Which again, not saying women can't be in the military. Obviously they can, but like. I don't know. It just didn't. It didn't immediately seem like, oh yeah, this is like one of those bars where all the military people hang out.
Well, it's also just like you say vet and like war veteran, people refer to them as vets, but like it's also I don't know. It would be really weird if someone's just like, I'm a veteran. Like that's just the
Right. I
opening.
don't think they
When someone
refer to
says like, what do you do?
themselves.
I'm in the Navy, like, oh, I'm a Navy veteran or
Yeah.
something like that. Not just
I'm in the
I'm a veteran.
service, or like like there's
Yeah.
things that they say.
But
Yeah.
he makes a wild jump, and maybe it's like to speak to like he's only got one mindset: sex in army
And
or
tattoos.
navy or
Sex
whatever.
and tattoos.
Yeah, and tattoos.
So she's like, no, a veterinarian. Obviously, you dumb idiot. I work
You
on animals.
dummy.
She says, I work on animals. He goes, pretty and smart. It's like,
And then
all
her
right.
eyes flash and her pupils dilate. Like she just go, oh, like
Whoa,
and
he just
like,
called me pretty and smart. And
oh my god, total package. And he's a sex god.
her gaze searches my face and slides predatorily down my body.
I hate the adjectives in this.
Yeah.
He sounds like a serial killer in the way he approaches things. She maybe it's just the writing, but Jesus Christ, it's like everyone's out just to bang each other. It seems
Apparently,
like.
this guy is incredibly attractive. He says, I could take her back to my hotel room. She'd say yes. Hell, I probably wouldn't even have to ask.
You
Get
should
ready for the
probably still
cowbell.
ask.
I'd merely have to grab her hand and stand because I'm certain she'd follow. That's a cringe cowbell move right there. Saying like I wouldn't even have to say a word. I just would have to grab her hand and like walk her to the door, and I know I'm having sex
Boom.
with her.
Yeah. She they do a bunch of little small tack stuff. I mean, the tattoos are brought up again.
Yeah, he
This
has
guy's
like
I guess designing stuff for tattoos, but she's like, "Can I see your ink?" And it's that classic barbed wire that I imagine.
this guy's
bicep
really into
circle thing.
tattoos.
And he's like, "Yeah, it's my first. I need to cover it up." And it's like, okay. And she says, "You have more," and her voice is breathless. So she's just like, "There are more than just this tattoo. You're telling me there is more tattoos on your body?"
And he says, "Yeah, but none I can show you here." Weird line. Not quite full cringe.
Well, first
but
of all,
weird.
like, okay, there's probably some under his shirt, but like, are there other weirdly more like?
Yeah,
They're just arrows pointing to his private
Does he have a
parts on
penis
either side
tattoo?
of his
I don't
head.
remember that
Yeah.
being part of the description from earlier naked
Oh, that's right.
chapters. So she grabs her purse. She clutches her purse, which is a weird term to use there. As in, I guess she's grabbing her purse
He's like, boom,
to be
bing,
like,
bang, boom, let's go. Let's get
like
out of
with
here.
that, we're getting out of here. And he says, listen, Candy, you're a beautiful woman, and ordinarily I'd be a complete jackass and invite you back to my hotel room, but I'm not going to do that. Which is kind of weird to say. Like, why? So you've clearly established that you like have that
He's
you're going to
been
get
leading
naked and
her
have sex
on.
with her. Why
Yeah.
would you suddenly be a jackass? If like she already grabbed her purse, like, hey buddy, I'm ready to go. Like that doesn't make you a jackass.
Yeah, if anything, she's trying to get him in the bag. Like it's not the other way
Yeah.
around. Like she
She's the one that
approached
came
that
up to him
situation.
with the
That's
silly
all
straw.
she wanted out of that. Yeah, just the silly straw.
The thought of touching
the straw with that goes over
yeah,
your
with the
eyes,
glasses.
eyeglass straw. So-
Now that's boner central
that
right
would
there.
actually, yeah, obviously.
The thought of touching anyone other than Jane turns my stomach. And I'm done waiting. I need to get my ass over to her school to see her and the smile that lights up the world. That's the nicest thing he's said. And Candy's like,
yeah, for sure.
Candy's like, all right, I get it. And she gives him her car, and she's like, call me if you change your mind or need any veterinarian services. So business prospect out of this, I guess.
Oh, hell yeah. I mean, she's out there grinding, in both senses of the word.
Kevin watches her go, noting how her rounded ass sways perfectly.
It's heart-shaped, round, square. I love the evaluation of butts to this degree. Like,
he pays, he drops some bills on the table, heads to his truck. He lets us all know.
I highlight this. I've only had one beer, so I'm fine to drive.
It's like, who's
okay,
asking?
Man,
okay, buddy.
This is your book. This is your narration. Like, we would have no idea if you were driving drunk or not. But it's like a weird messaging of like,
whose approval does he need here? He's like, whoa.
Like,
I've only had one drink, okay? I can drive here.
Like, legal limit is 0.08. I'm at 0.04. Yes, I've drank, but
why
yes,
are you
I'm
telling
drive.
us? Why are you explaining this?
It doesn't add anything to this.
Also, what time is this? Why is he's drinking beers?
So we know it's during the school day. It's during the school day.
And he's driving over to Jane's school.
There's a veterinarian slamming alcohol.
Yeah, what's everybody doing?
Morning, trying to come over and get him to go back with her. He's drinking. It's like 11 in the morning. What
is that? But he's only had one beer. So what was the point? What are we even doing here?
I don't understand. Yeah, it's so strange.
So
it's a great thing to point out.
He basically he's excited about seeing her. That's basically where chapter 6 ends. So now chapter 7, we get Jane's perspective, and it starts with just, "Hey Janie, my heart stops. There's only one person in the world who calls me that."
We've actually established that her ex-boyfriend tried to call her Janie, and she didn't like it.
Yeah. So, also, this was like 2 years ago. She looks up from her desk to find him standing in my classroom doorway, wearing worn jeans slung low on his narrow hips. What is that description? I don't even understand. Worn jeans.
So he's like, I guess
low.
he's wearing them like below the belt line. I mean, like,
is he showing off like that pelvic muscle?
Yeah,
he's got the V. He's got the V.
He's got the V. He's obviously got the V. Come on. There's no way he wouldn't.
And he has a tight blue T-shirt that does little to hide his sculpted chest. She forgets how to breathe and blink and possibly swallow. I quickly touch my mouth to ensure I'm not drooling.
She has a problem, dude. Like, oh my god.
It's actually,
they both do.
It's actually scary how attracted she is to him. Like,
it is.
It's serial killer-esque.
It's alarming. And same with him to her. It's terrifying.
So she's like, "Hey, what are you doing here?" And then she like looks at herself. She's like, "Man, I probably look like shit. What am I even wearing?" I glanced down, knee-length dress with my favorite sandals.
And that's all. I look like crap. I'm wearing a dress and sandals.
Last time she was wearing a black T-shirt and like black sneakers, and that was like the only description we had of her.
Was clumsy and awkward. Yeah.
So he's like, "I'm in town," and she's like, "Okay, I got that much, but why?" He's like, "Would you believe it's because I missed you?" And she laughs and says, "Nope." And he steps closer to her. She can smell his shaving cream.
Definitely not predatory. Yep.
And aftershaves. Did he shave like in the car on the way there? How long does like shaving cream smell stay on your face?
It does not. Also, shaving cream, I don't even know.
I don't even think that has a smell.
I've never noticed it.
Unless like you're in the middle of shaving. But his jaw tightens. His eyes travel the length of me.
Oh.
And he says, "You look good, Janie."
So I have that whole sentence highlighted, and my only note that I wrote, I guess, like a month ago, it just says this man is a sexual predator.
Yeah, it's creepy because like
you look good enough to eat.
Yeah. So
like you say that, like the only time I've ever heard that is like when you look at the little kid, like, "Oh, it's so tasty, like I could just bite your leg off," which is already weird. Like, you look so tasty, like I could eat you up, and it's like it's weird saying that to another grown person.
A grown adult. And
being
then
like, "You look so good, I could."
I don't like it. That's a cringe cowbell. I'll ring it. That's 3 so far. And so she's like, he says you look good enough to eat, and then he says, "Oh, did I say that out loud?" Like, all right, buddy, are we doing bits here? And she, or no, she says that. Does she say that?
No. So it says his face splits into a shit-eating grin, first of all. And then he winces and says, "I said that out loud, didn't I?" And she basically is like, "Yeah, baby, you did." Which is already weird calling.
I think, no. I think he calls her baby. Because we're from her perspective. And she says, "I wince." Oh. I said that out loud. So he says, "You look good, Janie," and she responds,
she says,
"You look good enough to eat." That's even weirder. That's even weirder. So he pulls her close. She inhales his scent. I guess this guy smells really good.
Yeah, he's got it. Aftershave, shaving cream, doesn't even need cologne. He just oozes Axe body spray or
He says,
pheromones.
"I thought about you a lot over there." I guess overseas.
Over where? We don't know.
We have no idea. He's
Literally, your story, author. You could have made up. You could tell us if it was a classified operation because it doesn't exist. It's a book.
and he says, or she says, like, I think about you too. And then in her mind, she's talking about like every time I look into my daughter's eyes, his daughter's eyes, because they both have blue eyes, I guess.
Right.
And then we're soon approaching. So let's get through this part first, and then I'll tell you when we're starting the special segment here. He asks her if you're seeing anyone. Probably a good thing to ask before you
I'll give
assault
him
her
credit
body.
He asked, and then immediately when she said no, he gave her a kiss, and it's not a gentle, sweet, seductive kiss.
No.
It was an all-out assault on my
Oh.
senses.
He devours me, sweeping his tongue into my mouth to slide against mine. I meet him stroke for stroke, which is a weird way to define a kiss. That's a weird term to use for a kiss, because like stroke, I don't know. It's just weird. And he rewards me with a growl.
The growling piece of this, like I don't know. Maybe we just have never had that passionate engagement.
He
where
grabs
we just growl into other people's mouths.
He grabs her butt and he presses himself towards her. Here's Salty Dalton.
Happens down there.
Here's where we're going to approach a new segment on the show, on the Bad Book Club. So we're going to treat this Mad Lib style, and I have 10 words that are going to be used in the next couple sections, next couple paragraphs, that I need you to give me a substitute word for. We are going to start.
Yeah, I'm not going to look at the word for word. I'm just going to.
Yeah, so we're going to start. Well, I'm just going to give you the type of word. So I need a noun. Start me with a noun. Any noun.
Monument.
Okay, keeping with the penis theme. I need another noun.
Jar. I just looked at what was on the counter.
You have a monument in your house? Okay. Third one, I need another noun.
Another noun. Table.
Okay. Next, I need a body part. Any body part.
Ear.
Next,
I don't know if I'm gonna like how that turns out. Okay.
You went with ear. Next, we need type of clothing.
Latex bodysuit.
Okay. Latex bodysuit. I need another body part.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Toe.
I need another noun. I need a noun. Sunglasses. 3 more here. I need a verb.
Oh God. Jumps.
Okay.
Okay. Cool.
And
Not
then
too
I need 2 more nouns.
Shoe and plant.
Shoe and plant. Okay. We're going to do our first Bad Book excerpt.
Sex libs or something?
Sex lips.
Okay, cool.
Sure, we'll go with that. I came up with the idea, not you. No, I'm just
You
kidding.
did, yeah.
No, I meant like the name, Sex Lips.
Oh,
I was joking.
You did? Okay, I was just guessing. Yeah.
No, I was joking because you just said it, and I was taking credit for it.
Oh, okay, well, you can take it. I don't want any part of this.
This is Sex Lips, Curves and Cradles.
Oh, Jesus.
He squeezes my ass and grinds his monument against me again.
Oh, no.
And I instinctively lift my legs, wrapping them around his waist. Instantly, his jar is pressed to my core. Oh, wait. Did I skip a word? Oh, no. Yeah, wait. Sorry. Noun? Noun. Where'd body part go? Oh, no. I already screwed this up. Wait. Body part. Okay, whatever. Instantly, his jar is pressed to my core. My latex bodysuit is already wet. And I'm sure he can feel it through his pants, but I don't care. I want him to keep rubbing against me. I'm going to skip that next sentence. He says, he goes, "Fuck, Janie. You feel so damn good. His lips leave my mouth and trail down my throat to nibble on my ear. He sets me down on the edge of my desk but doesn't move away. One large hand slides between our bodies, and his finger pulls the elastic of my sunglasses aside. Can't read that next sentence. That will make me throw up. I'm skipping around. His thumb circles my table slowly, and he inserts a second finger into my shoe. His thumb continues its slow assault on my bundle of nerves, while his fingers jump in and out of me. Okay,
oh boy, howdy.
We're gonna go ahead and stop that there.
Oh my god, that was somehow worse than reading it.
Yeah, and again.
Also, let's just cover this. All of this is happening, what you're reading.
Yep.
At school.
This is a great
on
point.
Her desk.
This
We're
is,
assuming it's after school, right? Hopefully, not in between classes.
It's not even. Yeah, it's not in between classes. We're told later in this chapter. By the way, we're not gonna. There's really no other details to share with the sex scene. It's just they're banging. The weird part is okay. They haven't banged yet. They're like doing all this stuff, and then she reaches behind, opens the top drawer of her desk, pulls out a condom, hands it to him. He goes, "Should I ask?" And she goes, "High school teacher. I'd rather they be prepared."
I get it if you're teaching sex ed. I think it is so weird that a teacher would just have a condom ready to hand to a student under any context unless they knew what that student was about to do. And
in
that
the
raises
top
a lot
drawer
of
of
questions.
the desk, too.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is like, unless
where like your pens are.
Like, unless the student came up to her, if they had that relationship, is this high school or something, middle school?
High school.
I don't know. High school. And goes, "Hey, Mrs. Janie, I'm planning to have sex in the next 20 minutes. Do you have a condom?" And it's like, that's already buck wild.
Where'd you get that? My English teacher.
Exactly. And then on the flip side of that, it's like, does she have it in case she runs into a high school kid who's like, "Mrs. Janie, you look real good today." You know what I'm saying? It's weird.
Oh, God.
I don't like that was even brought up. And she could have had it for any other reason. Like, what if she went into her purse?
Right.
And was like, "Oh, right, I have this."
Safe sex.
It's a normal thing you would have to do that. Not
top drawer.
Keep it for the high school kids. I keep it for the kids, and that is so strange to me, and I don't like it.
Right next to the sticky notes. The sex scene itself don't really need to get into. The only couple lines there. He plays my body like a maestro. That's kind of a weird one.
She said nothing can compare. She's tried so many sex toys. It's a wonder that they haven't created a dildo of the month club just for her.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
That's weird.
A different one every month. And I don't know at what rate she's burning through these guys trying to find the perfect one to replicate this man.
So they get through it all. And then they're quiet for several moments. And then he says, "Would you believe me if I told you that's not why I came here today?" He asks. And she laughs. He
oh, wait.
Oh, he's still inside her. Oh, God. Jesus.
Yes.
So we're skipping ahead because he disposes the condom.
Still inside. I have that highlighted. Where does he dispose of this in a school? Does he just fling it off to the side or throw it in the trash can for the janitor to come up and be like, "What the shit?
What the hell is going on?"
The janitor's like, 2 years ago, I was working in a hotel, and I came across a trash can full of 18 and decided I don't want to work at that hotel anymore. Starts working as a janitor at school. I want to know his backstory. He runs into this classroom. Boom. He sees it. He knows what it is. That's insane to me. You can't say something like dispose of the condom because it's like, okay, that's a interesting detail to add. He's being very courteous. Like, it's not like he just wears it the rest of the day.
Right.
But it's like, you don't need to add that. You just don't even have to mention it. You've already mentioned they had one. I don't like it.
I don't like any of this because then they're both starting to realize, wow, we did this at school, which is kind of weird and illegal.
A lot of windows here, huh? Yeah, there are.
Oh, God. And so then she goes, like, "How did you find me?" Which is a great question. And he says, "I'm a SEAL, babe. I have my ways." Where he's like joking because then he goes, "Also, I asked at the bakery in town when I stopped in for coffee." So it's like, which is just kind of a strange statement to make because it's like, what are the odds are? One, I mean, aren't they in like Austin, Texas or something?
Corpus Christi. Corpus
Corpus
Christi. I
Christi.
guess
So
it's a
like,
small town.
I mean,
Also, it should be
let's double
renamed to
check
the
that.
town,
Let's
easiest to get murdered in.
Corpus
Because if you can just,
Christi population. Okay,
because that's where one of the colleges is.
317,000 people.
Oh, I think you meant 317. I was like, okay, that's sort of believable now.
No, 317,000. So that she would not only frequent this bakery enough for them to know her, but they also know her to the point where they know, oh, right now, 2:00, she's at the school right now, setting
And
up
also, like,
because this year hasn't started yet, it says.
and like this town, literally, like I said, it should be renamed to the town easiest to get murdered in. Because if you
Yeah.
can just walk into a coffee shop and be like, "Hey, do you know Jane Baker? Do you know where she's at right now?" And the person's just like, "Oh yeah, she's at this school." Like, not even did they even question why they were asking?
Yeah, she's probably
And
by
yeah, it is
herself
weird.
in the school.
It is weird. Yeah, she's she rarely carries a weapon.
Um,
I just I feel like that's so strange for such a big town for him to make the assumption, or if he just went door to door to every establishment. Do you know Jane?
Yeah,
Janie?
I don't like
shaped
that.
like a heart, about this tall, really deep, raspy voice.
Yeah, heart shaped.
Looks like Igor, but in all the right ways.
Igor. And so he mentions, like, if it makes you feel any better, there were no other cars in the parking lot when I got here, which
That
is
means nothing to me.
unnecessary. Don't need to say that. That just makes it sound like.
You know what he didn't mention? Whether there were buses there or not there, which are carrying kids. Who
And then
would have
she
seen
says,
this?
I know we're alone. I'm the only one who comes in this time of the summer. So a couple things on that. One, like, teacher contracts. Typically, a teacher is contracted to start work a certain time of the year. Now, I know teachers will sometimes show up early to start setting up their classrooms, like we said.
We know
but-
they're underpaid. We
but-
know they do a lot of work.
But this teacher is showing up so early that no other teachers are here setting up their class. When is she showing up?
Did
Like
she just-
a week after school ended the previous year? Like what is?
That's
I
what I'm saying.
don't
And
understand.
like, who let her in? Because I don't think they just give teachers master keys to the
No.
school.
No.
She'll have her classroom key or other stuff like that, but someone was in the building because someone let her in.
So yes, she somehow got into here, had sex with this man. The condom is like thumbtacked
Somewhere
to the
in the
wall,
Yep.
and so she's debating whether or not to tell him. Obviously, the big secret that he has a kid. And she's like, all right. She's like internally debating, and then he
Go
says,
tell him, go not tell him. Yep.
he's like, I'm not going anywhere soon. I'd like to see you again. Take you out on a real date where I don't maul you like a horny Viking. That's
Bring
a
it, bring it.
cowbell. That's
Bring it.
number
Absolutely.
4.
That's a weird thing to say to anybody.
Very weird.
But she basically turns him down. She's like, that's not a good idea. But she still gives him her address, which is
I don't want to go on a date with you, but I would like for you
can't-
to come to my home.
I can't see you again, but here is my address. Like,
Yeah.
how do you interpret that?
She says, we do
Um,
need to talk, but I have to go.
She doesn't pass go or collect $200.
Yeah, that
so,
seems like a
you
Cat
know.
Baxter little like snarky line in there. Like, being
Yeah,
real
like,
clever
do not
there.
pass go, or maybe
Okay.
this is just they were all playing Monopoly. This is just a really sexual Monopoly.
Yeah, maybe. 10 minutes later, she's in her car on the way home. She calls her friend Danny. Danny
bitch.
says, "Hey, bitch," which I'd like to pull the. I mean, I just know that if we polled the women in our lives, I just don't think they answer the phone.
That seems like
to
such
each other.
a 2000s era movie about high
Yes.
school.
Yeah.
Where like they're getting a call, they're in the car and they're like, "Hey ho, like
Yeah.
where you at?" Like something like that. Like that's just such a like I would if you answered the phone and said, "Hey bitch," I would be like,
I'm
so
gonna start
sorry, man.
answering
I'm
the
gonna
phone
hang up.
like that, no matter who's calling.
I'll do it at work. Yeah.
So she's talking to Danny. She's like, "Oh man, I'm such an idiot." And Danny's like, "Oh my god, he's back! Like the seal guy's back." And what did he say about
Mhm.
the baby? And she says, "Nothing. I didn't tell him. I rode him like a cheap carnival ride instead." That's a cowbell in my classroom.
Classroom.
Yep, that's number
Um,
5.
And she says, "What's wrong with me?" And honestly, a whole lot.
A lot.
I don't even think we have the time to dig into what's wrong with her.
She's at an intersection and like drops her head down and a car honks at her. It's like a weird detail to include here. It's like, all right, she's so
That's okay.
stressed.
She's only had
she's
one
lost
beer.
how to
She's
drive.
good to drive. Yeah.
Right. She's like, there's nothing wrong with you. He's the father of your child and the hottest sex you've ever had. And it's been a while. You obviously needed some. There's some great support there from Danny. And then, yeah, that next paragraph makes me cringe as well here.
I needed some. I already decided to start ordering my batteries online because I'm pretty sure the clerks at Target are onto me.
We have to talk
This
about
feeds
this.
into that.
We have to talk about this.
Other-
So, batteries last quite a while these days.
Also, we've established this is like modern time, right?
Yes.
Rechargeable
Aren't they-
batteries
yeah,
are a
look,
thing.
Look,
And I don't
you
know
and
a
I are
lot
not
about
sitting here pretending to be, experts on this subject, but
I have to imagine that if she's gone through enough, we'll say, personal items
Sure.
to do her thing, if she's gone through so many that she's afraid that the company will start a sex toy of the month club about her, that, I mean, there has to be one out there that is plug into the wall and recharge, right? We can do that with
100%.
battery packs. You can do that with Ring doorbells. I would like to think that the technology has sped up a little bit.
But I just want to know, are these one a day vibrators? What do you mean? The batteries you're buying so many batteries from Target that people are noticing. Don't you get batteries come in packs of 24, 30 batteries at a time? Don't those things? I don't know. I don't understand.
And also the odds of the biggest thing that they'll know her at Target is that's the battery girl.
That's the battery girl.
I don't think they're gonna be like, oh yeah, recharging your sex toys.
What are
again.
these for? I don't think
yeah,
anyone's
other
gonna
than
care.
that, it's just wow, it's weird that she buys this many batteries. In fact, that might land her on a list somewhere.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's such a weird thing to add, and just to really hammer home on the fact that much like he had his hand for the last 2 years, she had something else, and
Don't like it.
good God, that's horrific.
She throws a shot at Blake here, her ex, where she says that Blake basically never made her feel sexy, and most of the time we did it in the dark, half dressed, like most Americans, most people, and not the kind of half dressed sex you have because you're too damn impatient to wait until you're naked. No, this was intentional. We left our shirts on because he wasn't so much a boob guy. What does this mean? What does this mean? What does this mean?
Right,
what do you mean?
Baby, leave the shirt on, lights off. Lights off, shirt on. Actually, keep your shoes on, too.
I don't understand. He's not a boob guy, so he's like, I don't even want to see those. I don't even want to see those things.
I think there were more things wrong with that relationship or their personalities for that to be a thing that you introduce as a detail.
Also,
now
if
I
they're
think
in
Blake
the dark,
is a weird guy.
Why does it matter if she's wearing a shirt or not? And
what if they're going to bed? Does he? If she didn't have one on, he's like, no, you need to go put a shirt on right now.
I can't look at those two. I can't look at those things. And it's
and we've established that she's got a lot of resources
large,
up there, I guess.
Yes. But
at first I thought this was referring to the SEAL guy, and I was just like, well, that makes sense because all he does is describe butts according to shapes, right?
But Blake didn't even want to feel the boobs. He was like, because they're in the dark, so it's not a sight
He wants
thing.
to be so far removed from that situation that on the off chance that he wanted to have sex, which they did several times, obviously, he just wanted nothing to do with her upper half, which is already such a strange detail.
Which again, Blake is her ex-boyfriend or whatever, and
who
then
has the super hot model fiance or whatever now, and
so
maybe he makes her wear a shirt too. Maybe this is just Blake's thing. Maybe it's his kink. Are we kink shaming Blake right now?
Her friend Danny goes, "How's he straight and not a boob guy? Plus, you have great boobs. So okay, female empowerment."
But it's a weird thing to take a shot at calling someone.
Yeah. What are you, gay?
Homosexual? He's clearly LGBTQ because he doesn't like boobs. It's no, I mean,
look, he's a weirdo.
To the
clearly,
extent that
but
he doesn't like boobs, it's weird that he makes people wear a shirt.
That's the weird part of it.
You just can't assume that it's just weird. It's a weird comment. I think the author's commentary is being very, very strange.
So Danny's like, you got to tell him. She's like, all right, I'll tell him. I know, and I will. So we head to chapter 8. We're back at Kevin's perspective.
I want to see Danny and Cade get together.
Yeah, because
they seem pretty level-headed.
Seems like a nice guy.
Danny's ultimate. She's weird, but she's just kind of like, hey, you have a kid with this guy. You should probably tell him. She's like, no.
The friends here have all been pretty.
And Cade's like, hey, man, you might like this girl. Stick around. And he's like, no. So yeah, they're the true characters here.
So Kevin shows up to her house. He mentions the grass needs mowing, the front bed needs weeding, and the white paint on the front door.
What is it?
He's taking shots.
I'm gonna Google blue bungalow.
Also, it's like, all right, buddy, like this is your first time seeing this house. You don't have to just suddenly start like criticizing it. The grass needs mowing, the front bed needs weeding, and the white paint on the front door is chipped. It's like, all right,
Okay, this is a bungalow.
yeah. I guess I don't really fully know what a bungalow is. Okay,
They all look pretty similar.
okay.
Blue
So it's got like
bungalow.
a
It's like a
raised
weird. It's like a
thing.
style of
Okay.
like a wide front porch and some steps.
All right.
It,
So
it looks like just a regular house.
yeah, but
Honestly,
apparently this one looks like absolute garbage.
yeah, it's terrible.
He presses the
She clearly
doorbell.
doesn't maintain it.
He presses the doorbell. He's thinking in his head like, man, I figure I owe her an apology for banging her on her desk in the high school like a damn Neanderthal, which
Yeah, you tell you
doesn't
what,
make sense. It doesn't make sense.
it doesn't. And also, you owe everyone an apology for having to read
Well,
that.
yes, you
What did
owe.
you do with the condom, bud?
You should be
Still thinking about that?
arrested. But also, banging her on the desk in high school. There were no desks for Neanderthals. So like, why does this? How does this statement even make sense?
And yeah, it speaks to, Cro-Magnon sex habits, which I don't think
Yeah.
anyone knows.
I don't know.
That's assuming a lot of things, that they had desks, that they had all sorts of stuff.
So Jane opens the
Um,
door. She's barefoot. She's
just a
wearing
minute.
blue jean shorts, a t-shirt, and is carrying her child on her hip. And she is surprised to see him, which I don't understand because you gave him
She
your address.
handed him the address.
Yeah. And she says,
What
Kevin,
are you doing here?
Kevin,
How
what are
did
you
you
doing
find
here? Yeah. How did you get here? So she's surprised, and his eyes, he looks at the girl.
He goes, babysitting, question mark. And she goes, not exactly.
Yeah.
And then he goes, it's then I realize, not all the frowning or the surprise to see me, that she's angry. It's
Yeah,
like, okay, yeah, good body
she's-
language reading.
She's apparently pissed, and he's like, "Oh, I have no idea why." He says the baby says something to her that I don't understand, which is just funny to me. He's like, "I can't understand you."
Well, and the baby's like 2 now, we established, right? Or 1.5 or something.
Well, I feel like
18 months.
we're probably in the 1.5 to 2 range. I would guess
1.5.
because
So, I mean, probably knows a few words, but
yeah.
but if the baby says unintelligible baby
But he
speak,
must
I
be
mean,
the baby must be old enough because then Jane turns to the little girl and says, "You eat your peaches and then you can have your goldfish." So like
so this
clearly,
baby is 1.5 years, and it's like, mother, I require
sustenance.
Yeah, I need goldfish. And she goes, oh, hold on a minute. You can have it after the baby understands the concept of eating the peaches, then goldfish or something. I don't know.
Yeah. And she's like, "Hey man, like I'm busy. Can we talk later?" And he's kind of like surprised by this. He's like, "Oh god." And then,
Oh God, it's so inappropriate.
I don't like
So
I don't like the
inappropriate.
sentence here. We'll bleep. Well, we won't say the word, but he says, "I open my mouth to speak, then close it. Yesterday, she seemed happy to see me. God, the memories of her shuddering on my blank make me hard all over again." That's a cowbell.
So he is talking to her at the door. She's angry. His body composite. I don't know what it is that's triggering this, but the dude literally gets hard every minute of every day, and he's just going like, "Dang, she's so upset." Thinks about her for 1 second, goes, "Oh, I have a raging erection in front of her and her child."
The
You know
toddler.
how inappropriate that is?
It's
Toddler.
extremely
Yeah,
inappropriate. She's a toddler apparently because the toddler on her hip squirms down.
yeah, maybe the
mama.
toddler's like, "Oh my God, what is happening here? I
And
need to
then
leave."
the daughter spills the beans because she says down mama, and then he's like mama, and he like
Now
looks at
that
the
I
girl.
understand.
He looks directly in the girl's eyes, and like she has blue eyes, and he says eyes that look alarmingly familiar, which is strange to me because like look, like we all know what color eyes we have, but like I don't know about you, but like
Yeah.
I don't stare at my own eyes in the mirror all the time.
Well, also, if you think about it, like, right, everybody has an eye color.
Yes.
There's only so many color combinations, right? There's blue, brown, gray, and green. There's like different stuff,
Sure.
but like just because you see blue eyes doesn't automatically assume that that's my kid. Like if I saw
But
another kid with
he's thinking
Lily's
about it.
eyes, I wouldn't be like, that's my kid.
So he's like putting the pieces together in his head. He's like, these look just like the eyes that peer back at me every time I look in a mirror. And then he goes, "Holy fuck!" And he shakes his head and turns and he walks away. So,
Yep.
and then this next sentence here, I highlighted. I know how
It's
to
amazing.
deal.
I did too.
I know how to deal with dangerous situations, both domestic and foreign. I know how to disassemble explosives and extract civilians from dangerous situations. But what I don't know how to do is deal with the shitstorm my life has just become. Just an incredible, incredible sentence there.
What this reminds me of is that Vin Diesel movie, The Pacifier,
Sure.
where
Yeah.
he is a trained secret agent and
Mm-hmm.
has to become a nanny for like 6 months, and he's just like, I can kill people, but I
Yeah.
don't understand how to feed this kid goldfish. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. My guess is the situations you were in are going to be tougher than being a dad. I'll just be honest. Like I don't know if these explosives and extracting civilians from like buildings. My opinion is they're probably more difficult than what we're talking about
A little
here.
bit higher stress,
A little
I
bit.
would imagine. I mean,
Um, and what does that say about the kid? You're like, oh man, I wish I would be, uh, getting people out of exploding buildings than change your diaper. So
that's what I'm
he,
saying. Like, is it that hard to comprehend that
it's
you might
not.
have a child? Like, I mean, come on, man. Like,
So he drives to
um,
Cade's offices.
no,
Um,
yes, Cade's coming back in. There we
and
go.
Cade walks with his limp, as we know, blown left foot. Um, and he lowers the window down, and Cade's like, "You coming in or planning to sit out here and make my clients nervous?"
Which
Um,
is also, yeah, weird
yeah.
because I think he runs like a security building or something, and you
So
just got a
Cade was
guy
also at a
white
bar in the middle of
knuckling
the
the
day.
steering wheel.
So again,
Yes,
it's like what? Unless this
while
is
he was
like the
supposed to be
next day.
working, I guess. Yeah, maybe.
I
No,
don't
it's the
know.
next day. Yeah,
Okay.
it's
Okay.
the day after.
All right. So he's like, get your ass inside. That's an order. And then we start finding some more backstory. Again, Cade is the closest thing I have to a brother. So yeah,
Cade Matthews. We
Cade is a
finally
great
learned his
guy.
last name.
Yeah, we know Cade his last name, and Cade apparently runs a security company. And so I guess Cade is a bigwig here. He runs an entire security company,
Private
and
office.
private
Pulls out a
office.
bottle of whiskey,
Yeah,
which is it's a power move. It's the middle of the day. They really like to drink, but not too much that they can't
not
drive.
too much, just one beer. So he says like, I saw Jane, and he's like, oh no, like is she married? And he's like, no, but she has a kid. And he's like, and you hate kids? Like he's like, what's the big
He's
deal?
like, yes, I do.
And he's like, yeah, I don't know how to be around kids. I never understand when people say things like that, where it's like I understand. Obviously, there are people in this world that are like, the kids are. I don't like kids, and it's like, all right, if that's your preference, you don't like kids. But like saying you don't know how to be around them, that doesn't make any sense. It's like you just exist. They're just gonna be
There's
near
just a
you.
kid.
They're not gonna
There,
like kill you.
you
Like,
could
what do you
say I
mean?
don't know how to really take care of kids. I don't know how
Right,
to,
right.
that sort of stuff. But if you just have to, like, what happens when he goes into a public place and there's a bunch of toddlers nearby? Does he just freak out?
Apparently, like I
Like, I
understand
can't
if
be
you're
near them.
like,
I don't understand.
I don't know how to be around sharks. It's like, okay, yeah, that's understandable. But like kids
Yeah.
are just like tiny humans. Like they're you. I don't understand. And then so he says like, I'm pretty sure the kid is mine. And Cade pours another two fingers into the glass. Yeah, he's quiet. Cade is apparently 6 years older than Kevin and was his commanding officer. So again, a lot of backstory here for Cade in this section of the book.
We'd also, how old are they again? I forget when we introduced. She's in her 24 or something like that.
Something like that.
So the 2 years have passed. So I think they're around the 26-year-old range. And
Right.
so Cade is the old man and he's 31, 32, which is what we are. So
And
I don't think he said the older gentleman, like the
yeah,
elder statesman. I'd be like, dude, he's the same age as you, basically.
and I guess Kevin is a commanding officer. He mentions now, I guess, and he's back for rehab for his injury. But I have every intention of returning as soon as I have my doctor's green light.
So he's here for a while, but as soon as he can, he's out of there.
Yeah, as soon
I
as the
mean,
doctor says like the numbness on your hand is better, I guess you can go back to the
but he can
military.
still draw tattoos. Is what
Yeah,
he said. He's like, I'm glad that I could intricately draw a tattoo
good
design
enough
despite my entire
tattoos
arm being numb.
that it's going to be
Yeah,
the best seller of tattoos in existence.
yeah,
Um,
because that's how tattoos work. It's the same thing.
so Cade goes, "You should marry her," and he's like, "I can't do that." And he's like, "Why
Yeah,
not?"
good job, Cade. Way to instill some responsibility into this.
And Kevin's like, "Well, she didn't actually tell me that it's my kid." And Kevin's like, "What do you know whether she tried to tell you?" And he's like, "That's not the point." I take another sip, slower this time, to give myself something to do with my hands than a need for the alcohol.
So he's sipping to just do something. It's like a
Yeah.
fidget toy. Like he's just kind of like, well, I'm just gonna just drink because I have nothing else to do with my hands.
Okay. Okay. It might numb hands. And
Right.
then Cade's like, that's exactly the point. He's like, well, what if it's not my kid? And he's like, you just said it was. He's like, I don't know for sure. And he's like, did you ask her? And he was like, I was freaking out. And he's like, you're an idiot. And he's like, fuck you. And so they're getting an argument here. And he's like, go back right now and ask her to marry you. And he's like, I am not doing that. We had one night together 2 years ago. And he's like, well,
I actually kind of agree with that.
yeah,
Stance.
yeah. I don't know if
like
Cade. I don't think he should marry her right now. I think he should at least be like, hey, is that a child that we made together? Like, I think that's a good question.
Child support I need to pay.
Right.
But I agree with that. It seems pretty logical for him to be like, I'm not just going to show up at her door and be like, marry me right now. This could be our kid. No, that's a fine reaction. I actually don't.
And so
I
Cade's
think that
like,
was probably pretty accurate.
Cade's like, unless she's happily married to somebody else, does it matter if it's your kid or not? Which is like, well, it does.
And Cade to start, and Cade to sort of now it's a little bit. He's going off the rails.
And then he's like, I don't know the first thing about being a dad. Hell, I don't even know how to be part of a family. I've been on my own more or less since I was 7. So we learn a little bit more backstory there. 2 more chapters here. We're going to hit into chapter 9. I think both of these are pretty quick. Chapter 9, this is from Jane's perspective.
Mm-hmm.
She's just talking about, I'm angry with him. She's talking to Danny. She's like, I'm so pissed
at him. Danny's over.
I
guess Danny and her hang out all the time, which is cool.
She's folding some laundry. How dare he come back into town and seduce me again? You're the one who, to be fair, like you're the one who was like, hey, do you want to have sex on my desk? Here's my condom.
Yeah.
How dare he come to my house, take one look at his perfect daughter, and walk away?
How dare he come to my house,
which I gave the address
that
for.
I gave him, to see a kid who
he doesn't even know,
and then walk away when I say I'm busy. Let's talk about this later. So she basically is upset that he walked away when she told him to leave, and was completely caught off guard when he showed up to her address, of which she gave him. So I don't understand the logic there, but I don't have to.
So the doorbell rings, and so the daughter's sleeping. Or no, once my daughter's asleep at night, there's no waking her up. But nap time is a different story. So, okay, so maybe this is nap time right now.
Yeah, treading lightly.
So she's like, you don't wake a sleeping baby or toddler. Okay, we all know that. She peeks into the living room and finds Stella still asleep on the floor. So I guess the nap time is occurring in the living room.
Okay. Just on the floor.
Sure. We get a description of, she's got her blanket, all this sort of stuff. Sounds like a cute kid. But the doorbell, didn't the doorbell ring? The doorbell rings again, and I wince. So, but then they
get the door.
I don't wait.
Having someone keep ringing the doorbell.
The doorbell rang, and it says it rings again, and then she just continues on.
It rang, and she was like, "Go check on Stella. I'll get the door." And then she decides to go check on Stella.
The door. Okay.
Yeah. She checks on her again. I guess Danny's either just slow to get to the door, or the person at the door is like, hello.
Navy SEAL. He's like coming through the ceiling. And then so she's checking on the daughter. And then Danny, her voice, she's like, Jane, I want to go on the record saying you're so not an idiot. There are some temptations no woman can resist. And she brings in hot Navy SEAL guy.
I mean, from his point of view, I would maybe get tired of getting objectified so much like this. This best friend is just openly talking like, Jane, oh my God, this dude is just a hunk of meat, like amazing. Yeah. And he's just walking right behind her like, oh, cool, awesome. Yeah, all right.
He's like, hey, Janie, and he's like seeming all shucks.
Oh, man, hey, Janie, sorry about earlier.
And Danny's like, I'll go sit with Stella. You kids be nice. The traitor turns and leaves me alone with the sexiest man in the universe, but sexy is irrelevant, as are his heated kisses and magic orgasm-inducing penis. That's a cowbell. That's number 8 of the episode.
I'm angry with him, is what she says. So Kevin's like, she's like, what do you want? He's like, I just want to talk, obviously. And so she just like decides to let him in on the truth. Says her name is Stella.
Yep.
She's yours.
She's yours.
She has your eyes, uh, obviously. Um, and so he closes the distance again. He keeps like getting closer, and he like looks at the bed, I guess. But I
Yeah,
don't know
his
how
gaze
that's.
lands on the bed beside me. Yeah, that's
And then
weird
says like,
because
"When are you planning on telling me?" And he's getting angry, but it's like, why were you looking at the bed like
yeah,
that?
I don't
Is there
understand what that
something on
detail
the
is.
bed that's like
Because the girl's
triggering
in the
him?
next room, the daughter. So like I don't understand why I don't know. But he's his tone is edged with anger. So like he's kind of like, "Why didn't you tell me I was dad?" And she's like, "Oh no, you don't get the right to be angry. I'm the one who's angry." And he goes, "I was
Yeah.
inside you yesterday and you didn't think to mention that we made a kid." That's another cowbell.
Oh, geez. What a
Number
weird thing
9.
to say.
And
There's a lot of other ways you could have delivered that line. I don't think it
yes.
needed to start with "I was inside." You know.
He
Um,
yeah. But this goes to the root of the issue is I still don't understand her. I guess her anger towards him is not only are you impossible
he
for me to
never
get in
came
touch
back
to.
or
Yeah, exactly. He
contacted
never
her,
checked. He never like checked in or anything like that in a couple years. So I guess she
which
does
is
have a
one
little bit of a
thing.
gripe. But
And I guess
in his
she's tried
mind,
to
if this
contact
was
him. I don't
just,
know.
but if this was just like a one night stand type thing, it's like why like wouldn't the person
Yeah,
not
like
reach
I
out?
mean, they kind of left it in the expectation, like the "I'll call" but
Right.
doesn't call sort of thing. So it's like, okay, you had your one night stand, but yeah, to your point, you know, he has no idea.
Right.
Maybe no messages reach him, but he's just coming back into town looking for another,
Which apparently he
rekindle
does all
of
the
that.
time. He said in between missions, I just like go and try to bang
Do
girls.
that, yeah.
Yeah.
And so like that's just what it is. So yeah, I don't really understand that either.
So, yeah. So he's
So
like,
they're both upset at each other for
right.
not telling or not contacting. Um, Yeah, and then she's like, "You're the one who walked away yesterday," after she was like, "Go, I'm busy," and
Right.
didn't tell him. And so, a
And
lot of
then
hidden
it's
messages.
then that I
He keeps
remember I
getting
have
closer,
peanut butter smeared on my shirt, and my messy bun may have stray glitter dispersed throughout.
but he looks at the bed again. He comes closer, his eyes straying to the bed behind me. So I feel like he's saying all this, but he's also like, "Are we gonna do this? Like, are we
Oh,
getting on this
is
bed with
is
your
is the girl
daughter in
like
the other
is
room?"
the daughter in this room for some reason? Like I don't
No, I don't think
know
so. I
because
think he's
Danny's gonna
just
go check on the daughter. So like why? I
no,
don't
no.
understand. I don't understand. Is he like looking at the bed like, do you want to bang right now? Like I don't
Yes,
understand.
no. I think that's what he's doing because like she took him into the room. Danny went and go sat in the living room with the
Right.
kid. So
Right.
they're just in this room together. He was like angry and he looks at the bed and then he moves closer and he looks at the bed again while still talking to her. So I think he's like
Yeah.
he's just like, are we like let's solve this our own way,
I
right? How we
guess.
normally do things. I don't know. It's weird. I don't know why he keeps need to be looking at the bed.
So she mentions his chest and man, how come he can't find t-shirts that fit his biceps? And she's like, I tried to tell you that I was pregnant, but no one on your base would relay the message because I wasn't technically family. And so he's like, so she's not quite two. So she's 18 months. So she's 18 months old.
Exactly a year and a half. Okay.
Um, and then he's like, wow. He's like, you're right. I don't have any reason to be angry. I'm sorry. I just freaked out. Um, and of course, they wouldn't give me the messages. I've been on classified missions ever since.
Just nonstop, I guess. Not not
Nonstop.
not even couldn't even check his cell phone at any point to contact anybody.
She
It's a
goes,
miracle he even got in touch with Cade.
I grab a random piece of laundry to put something between us. Kind of
Throws a sock in the
a
middle.
weird
Stay
line.
away.
And he's like, Janie, like I've thought about you a ton.
And here we go again.
How
Openly
many times?
admits
Oh yeah, this is a
how many
cowbell.
times I took myself in hand to try to work you out of my mind.
Oh, that's number
Who
10.
says something like that to somebody else? Like, do you know how many times I've
Yeah,
you
I
know,
know. Oh, I hate it.
pleasured
I
myself
hate
to
it.
you while I
Um,
was gone? Do you understand the commitment that I had?
and
It's
somehow that's
a
a
romantic
romantic thing to
gesture.
say
I don't.
because then she goes, "No, you're doing that seduction thing again." And it's like, what? Um,
Also,
I'll,
I'll keep in touch, Janie. I'll call Janie. I mean, we read the chapters. I don't. There was briefly talk of him like reaching out again, but at no point did he keep saying,
no,
"I'm gonna call you. Don't
no.
worry." From what we
Um,
know, he said it once, and she's like, "You said you'd call. You said you'd do this. You said you'd do that." It's like, well, we don't know that.
And he's like, I don't know what to say. There's been no other girl since you. And she's like, you expect me to believe you haven't slept with another woman for 2 years? You, with all that, I gesture to his entire person. And then he says what we all thinking. And he goes, I don't know what that means. And I agree, Kevin. I don't know what that means. And she's like, do you think I'm an idiot? There's no possible way that women don't throw their underwear at you at a regular basis. Weird.
Whenever
Kind of
you
weird
go
statement.
to a grocery store and you get
Yeah.
pelted with lingerie, yeah, must be a common occurrence for this guy.
And he's like, no, I haven't slept with anyone since you. Never even had an urge. And she's clearly starting to be like, oh man, like this, like her heart's pounding. She's like, whatever. It just doesn't explain why you said those things, which sounded like promises. And then she's like, whatever you're saying right now, like it doesn't matter because you didn't get in touch with me. She's like, you didn't try and
Yeah,
contact me,
and his defense to that was, I knew if I had gotten in touch with you, I'd want to see you,
which is
which
like,
is generally what getting in touch with somebody
yeah.
means. And so he's like, my way of not doing that was so that I didn't have to do that. That's all he's saying.
And I guess
He's
his
just like,
excuse is because he was on these like missions. Because he's like, I wanted to wait till I had more time to spend with you. Then I got injured, and now here I am. Um, and
so he wouldn't have contacted her, I guess, at any point unless he had gotten injured. I mean, it's weird. He says all that stuff. He's like, I didn't want to call or contact you because I knew I'd want to see you, but I wasn't going to come back until I got injured. So here I am.
and
Like,
uh, and so he's like, but now I know about Stella, and we can plan our future. And she's like, did he just say future? She's like, hold up, what future?
whoa.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, it's our family. Like, I'm not sure if I told you I grew up in the foster care system, aged out. Why did he
Oh,
mention that part? Like, why didn't you
so
just say you
so
were in the foster care system?
so my note here, I have that entire section highlighted. I said, we literally know nothing about this man, so how could she?
Yeah.
Like, we don't know what they talked about. He had mentioned being somewhere until 7 is when he lost
Right.
his family or something, and it's like, okay, well, we had no idea he was in the foster care system.
Oh, so he's
At
saying
no point
aged.
is that
Yeah.
brought up.
No, it was
So
never
he
brought up.
aged out of the foster system, but like, we don't know
Yeah.
that. How does she know that? They spend 48 hours just having sex. Like,
Yeah. She's like, what does that mean? And he's like, I was never adopted. And it's heartbreaking or whatever. And he's like, I was true on my own until I joined the Navy. And I promised myself if I ever had a kid, I'd do whatever it take to be the best dad possible, which is interesting because, like, of his reaction, like previous chapter about the possibility of being a dad, he seemed very much like, whoa, I don't know about this.
I can't even be near a child. I
Uh,
don't.
and she's like, you want to get to know Stella? And she was like, wow, I never considered that as an option, having Kevin in Stella's life. What do you mean you never considered that as an option? You literally
That's
tried
all
to get
she's
in
been
touch with the
talking
guy.
about. Yeah,
That's why you're
like the
pissed.
whole and I think this comes up again either this chapter or something where the whole foster care stuff. It just reminds me of, like, she like says something. He like looks off in the distance. He's like, I was an orphan. And then everyone's like, oh, like, let's
Yeah.
forget about what we were talking about. Are you okay? It's like,
Right. Exactly.
what is happening? We don't know
Uh,
this.
so she's like, I never considered that as an option, having Kevin in Stella's life or whatever. And then he's like, I want us to be a family. Janie, marry me. And she's,
First
which
of
is
all, we
again,
thought we
bold move
established
there.
that was
Bad idea.
not what he was going to do.
Bad
Like,
idea.
we had left that chapter going, he made the right call saying it would be weird to just show up and propose.
So
But he doesn't.
she's like, we don't even know each other, which is true. They've just had sex like 3 times, and she didn't even know he was adopted or not adopted. And he's like, we'll get to know each other. It's the right thing to do. And she's like, in the 18th century, but not anymore. No one is worried about my reputation, which is like, okay, all right. I guess there were rumors and whispers when Stella, well, like when she was pregnant with Stella.
Well, I
Uh,
guess she's a pretty prominent icon in this town if the
Yeah,
baker
apparently.
knows
I mean, the
where she lives
bakery
and what she does.
nonstop
So,
talking about her. So the bakery, the gals down at the bakery, Um, uh,
especially that, like, the Snow White parody was like, there goes the baker with his bread, like always. And the baker's just like, all right, like,
yeah.
okay, thanks. I know my job sucks.
um, says, I'm not having my kid floating around without my name. I'll honor my responsibilities, which is, yeah, kind of. I mean, I think to her point, she's like, "Look, dude, I went through the whole pregnancy. like I've gone through the last 18 months. I've raised this kid. Like, like I don't need you. Like that's what she's trying to say. And he's like, well, I mean, this kid is mine. And like, I won't have
That
this kid.
baby's gonna be repping my name.
Yeah, like what does that
baby
mean?
needs
Like
to be locked down. Like,
yeah, I don't get it.
also, I don't even think she knows his last name. I don't
No,
even
we
think I
do.
know his
Jessup.
last name.
Jessup, I think, right? Kevin
Jessup.
Jessup, I think.
So he's already just assuming that, oh yeah, her name is Stella Jessup, right? Like that's my name.
Right.
This kid is walking around ruining my reputation, and I can't have that.
And
Like,
she's like, and
it's
again, I'm
one and a half,
on
dude.
a lot of this book. I have not been on Jane's side, but she's like, look, man, like if you want to get to know your daughter, we can do that. But like, I'm not going to marry you right now. I barely know you. All this sort of stuff. He's like, Janie, we're good together. He sounds like this like schmarmy little like, come on, Janie.
Remember the hotel? Remember your school?
Yeah, remember the hotel, the school, the back of my car right now. She arches into him, my fingers clawing at his back, just like a cat. Like I don't get that.
It's like all of this dialogue and all the good points that they're making. It's like as soon as I touch him, she just turns into this like sex maniac.
Yeah,
and it's like you're just like you discredit your entire like thing. Like it's just a weird dynamic to have where it's like at any given moment they're just gonna rip their clothes off and just go at it, and it's like that's weird during this discussion.
He grabs her boob, her nipples are hard, I guess. The next sentence I don't even want to read.
Painfully.
I shake my head and push away. She's like, no more sex. I can't think when you touch me.
You can spend time with Stella, but I'm not telling you she's not telling Stella that's her dad.
Right.
Which makes sense, I guess.
Sense. Yeah. Jesus Christ. And
he basically is like, I'm going to show you I'm different, is what he says.
Yeah.
And then, again, his eyes, he eyes the bed behind me. This is the third time he's looked at the bed.
I didn't even notice this, so I'm glad you're pointing this out, because I didn't notice this.
This entirely serious discussion, right? And this is the third time. And so this time he looks at it again, and she says, dang, if my nipples didn't harden in response. It's like, what? You guys are freaks.
Yeah.
Absolutely degenerates.
I don't know. She says, I'm the worst sort of cliche. It's like, I haven't really heard that cliche before. But all right. And he's like, you got anything to write on? She grabs the notebook she keeps on her nightstand. I'd like to learn more about that. Like, what are you writing there?
It's next to the 22 batteries.
Yeah. Oh God, that's true. Yeah. She pulls out the drawer and it's just stacks of batteries and batteries. He jots down his contact info and where he's staying. He says, call anytime. And she's like, I've been doing this whole parenting thing alone. I'm not going to suddenly need your help just because you're passing through town, which again, I get it. I get where she's coming from.
Yeah, that's fine.
And he's like, I'm not going to disappoint you, Janie. That's a promise. And she's like, damn me and my stupid heart, because I totally want to believe him. All right, last chapter, chapter 10. It's only a couple pages here. Kevin's perspective. He's thinking in his mind. He goes,
opens up with
no more sex. Jane. That's what he took away from that conversation. All
the
this stuff.
Serious discussion. I'm gonna be here to raise this child. Yeah. Immediately,
I'm a dad now. I'm gonna I want to be in this kid's life. I want to marry you. The only thing that he highlights for that conversation is her saying no more sex. He said
it's ringing inside her head. Like, she's like, my world has been rocked. Like, forget having a kid pop up after 2 years. I can't touch this woman.
He's like, she's putting her role as a mother ahead of that as a woman, and man, I find that attractive. No adult in my life ever put me first.
Oh God, that emotional intimacy also just turns him on. I know.
So this is a couple days later. So they've been exchanging texts, and they decided that today, Saturday, will be the first day I get to spend time with Stella, my daughter.
And he's trying to psych himself up. He's like, I can handle being with a toddler. I know that's what she is, a toddler. I Googled it with a bunch of other stuff.
I've handled insurgents and terrorists. Surely I can handle spending time with a toddler.
But the last chapter, he was like, I can handle threats, domestic and foreign, but I don't know how to handle fatherhood. And then he turned around and he's like, I've done that. It makes sense. I can probably do this.
Also, like, what does he do for the military? Yeah, like, apparently he just handles everything. He's like, insurgents, terrorists, I do Jason everything.
Bourne. He's Jason Bourne. He's Jason Bourne.
Yeah, and like you said, he Googled it. Yeah.
I do have this, and then he talks about it. He's just like, I'm going to do this. And then he said, I parked my leased truck. And I don't know why, but it bothered me that they went ahead and described it as a leased truck.
did-
And I don't know if that
I don't get it.
maybe that insinuates a level of commitment where he signed up to a leasing agreement over a couple years, or that's just how you describe it. I would have just said he parked his truck.
Also, where's home base for him? Like, where does he normally live? Because he doesn't normally live here. So, like,
No. And he wrote down an address. Is
it's
it
only
the
been a
hotel?
couple
Is it
days.
just-
Yeah, I
is
think
he
it's a
just
hotel.
staying at the hotel.
Yeah.
Maybe it's Cade's house, but it's a leased truck, 0.9% APR.
Yeah,
His
why are you
payments
telling us it's
fantastic.
leased?
At least describe what the truck is. A 2022 Dodge Hemi, something. It's just leased truck.
So Jane opens the door. She's like, "Come on in. We're almost ready." She turns away, giving me a perfect view of her round ass as she walks across the room. Again, Kevin, like, what are we doing here?
Heart-shaped around. Well,
Like-
after pregnancy, the heart shape turned into a round.
It's
so
like,
I
buddy,
think,
like, your mind should be like, all he's been thinking about is this. I'm gonna interact with my daughter here, and it's like he can't help himself. He's like, "There's that ass I love." Like, it's like, oh my god. She's like, "Stella, are you ready to go?" And she goes, "Stella Luna." Jane said. So, is that her full name?
no clue,
first
man.
name?
No, I have that highlighted. I don't know where that came from.
Is it a
Maybe.
nickname?
I mean,
Is it a like? I don't understand. Is that her name? And look, I'm not trying to throw shade at this fictional girl, but I've never heard Stella Luna before.
What's Jane's last name again? Oh, it's what is it? Jane. What is that actress?
Oh yeah, I
Hoffman.
forget.
Hoffman. Jane
So
Hoffman.
Stella Luna is a book. It looks like a famous 1993 children's book about a young fruit bat.
Yeah, that's probably what it is. You nailed it in one. I think that's exactly what she's referencing. They read that book together, obviously.
Okay, all right, I solved it.
Remember Stella Luna, the fruit bat?
So
yeah, I don't understand that either because like there's a lot of pet names. I know you call Lucy probably a bunch of other stuff.
sure, yeah.
Like we call Lily
Terrorist,
like stinks, sweets,
all that stuff.
terrorists,
Yeah.
aggressive baby. Like we'll call her all sorts of names,
Right.
endearingly. But Stella Luna, there's no context. I don't understand.
Yeah, they didn't get exactly like why didn't they give us some sort of context to that? So like Stella, giggles, runs up. She's got blonde curls, blue eyes. Kevin's like, "Hey, Stella, is it okay if I go to story time at the library with you?" She nods. Jane's like, "Can you say hi to mommy's friend?" I looked at the little girl, her chubby fingers wrapped around, and he's like, is that a rubber chicken?" It's like, all right. I guess that's a detail that we have here, that I guess she's holding a rubber chicken. Cool.
Yep.
She pops a pacifier into her mouth. The little knob on the end declares itself a mute button. So we're getting quirky here. We got a rubber chicken. We got a passy that says mute button on it.
Mute on it. Yeah.
It's like, all right, we're getting cool. She looks up at him. He's like, "She does have my eyes." My heart pounds and clenches. I haven't felt this way since my first time in combat. Again, what are we talking about here?
His hands are shaking.
He's
you
just
have the D-Day like
so
PTSD in the
aware
background,
of the frailty
explosion.
of life. Like he's like, "I've got her life in my hands right now. I could end her right now." It's like, what are you?
It's just so insane the contrast there, where he's just like, "Gosh, man." Once I looked at my kid, I knew how easy it was for people to die. Like, okay, all right, man. That's a great vibe to bring into story time at the library.
So they're holding hands. Jane grabs the keys off the entryway, walks to the door. She's like, "Well, take my car if you can fold your giant body into my compact." And he's like, "No, my truck's bigger." And he's like, "I've got a car seat too." So like in the previous 2 days, since he was like weighing all this, he got a lease for a car and he went and bought a car seat.
And we know it's an F-150 now.
Yes.
So they're just slow feeding us details about this truck that mean nothing to the story.
And then he brags about how much
like,
it cost or whatever.
He's like, "I dropped a pretty penny on this thing."
Yeah.
And I took it to the firehouse, and she was just like, "You went to the firehouse to get it installed?"
Yeah, that's so hot.
How does he know about this secret trick or this like it's just like, dude, I mean, you Google it and they're like, "Hey, all firehouses will do it for you for free and show you how to do it." And then she's just blown away by that fact, and she's like, "He's the dad. He's on top of this.
He's the dad here." And he's like, "That's what it suggests on the parenting site." He lifts Stella in his arms and he opens the passenger side doors. Jane is still eyeing me like I've grown an extra head. She pushes me out of the way to fasten all the various buckles. So she's like, I'm still mad at you. Don't forget that. And he's like, I wouldn't dream of it.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. There's a little banter there.
and he's like, should I
And then
ask about the
the rubber
rubber
chicken.
chicken?
We want to know what it is. And then she's like, "You think there'd be a cool story? There's not.
Yeah.
She just
And that's
likes
how the
rubber
chapter
chicken,
ends.
and that's fine, I guess. Whatever."
Man, what a. Okay,
It's
so
crazy.
we finished part 2 here. Big takeaways. So Kevin and Jane.
He's back.
Kevin's back. Kevin's back in town.
Kevin's back. He's ready to be a
He's
dad.
got his leased F-150. He's got his car seat. And apparently, I mean, he's still living in a hotel, I guess.
They're somewhere. No clue where this is. I really wish they would expand a little bit more on the details of the story.
And
But I don't think.
And this is a pretty short book. I mean, there's only like 40 more pages. So like,
add 50 more of exposition. Maybe we got a novel here. You know what I'm saying?
the weird thing with
maybe we learn more about Stella other than she's 1'2", blue eyes, and just
Rubber
18
chicken.
months. Really, all we know is she's 18 months and has blue eyes. They do not describe her personality or anything about her childhood.
She's just giggled. There's 21 chapters in this book. We only have 40 pages left. So are they going to really average like 2 pages a chapter coming up here? I guess. But
I think it's the split out between the switching perspectives. So I feel like the next 20 chapters are going to be literally like, new chapter. Kevin responded to Jane. Next chapter. Jane says something to Kevin. Kevin responds to, just do it all in one.
So we'll
do it all the time.
We'll do 2 more episodes. We'll do a part 3 and a part 4 to wrap up this book, and then when we near the end of part 4, we will. Salty Dalton and I will announce. By then, we'll have decided on the next book for the Bad Book Club. So maybe we'll throw a poll up there or something like that. Let the people decide, or we'll just decide because it's our show. Yeah, we'll figure it out. But you can, if you're enjoying this, again, feel free to read the book yourself. I mean, we put the link.
Hit like and subscribe.
Well,
ring the bell
all
in
that
the
stuff.
corner.
Yeah,
sure.
But we do have the link to the book itself if you want to go read it.
$2. Recommend it.
Yeah, and it's
$2.
Again,
Great
Curves and Cradles, a Navy SEAL / One Night to Forever / Curvy Girl Romance by Kat Baxter, which we have to dig into the Kat Baxter bibliography at some point and see what other books
I think we
her.
can pull her up on Wikipedia or get her about the author page, and I do want to know more about her. Maybe we'll get her on the show. Maybe
apparently she's like an award-winning author. So. God, what if we did? What if we interviewed these authors after we did these episodes and like?
I would just like to get their take on I would like to sit her down and be like, so how do you think the book went? And do you think you really built a good love story there, or was it just more about the sex scene? Also, how did you research the sex scene for the school, Kat Baxter?
That's true, Kat Baxter. We got questions, Kat Baxter. We got questions. You better have answers. We will be back for part 3 of the book. Go listen to episode 1, part 1, if you haven't already. And subscribe, like, all that good stuff. Do all the things you can to support us. And we will see you next time. We outie my sweet. Oh wait, no. Do I say? Did I take your line? I butchered it.
You said mine.
I combined it. What do I say? I say we'll see. Sayonara, my sweet suckers.
There you go. We
outie.
outie.
And then you go, we outie. Okay.